Welcome back to the Unboxed broadcast. Today, Dr. Davis and I continue our conversation about our leadership journey through our summer experience. We'll pick up part three, where we'll talk about leadership in the community. We're excited you're here. We're ready to dive in. So stick around as we help you unbox the power and potential of your leadership.
I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and leadership coach. This is my co-host, R.P. Soriano. Soriano attended Johns Hopkins Carey Business School, worked in the financial industry, and was an international consultant before partnering with me to launch UnBoxed to Lead. Me? Well, I worked for over 20 years as a senior pastor and a community organizer. Then I retired and started a leaders peer support community called UnBoxed to Lead. Soriano and I have been friends since the early 90s, and with our varied experiences and expertise, we help leaders reach the next level in their leadership. So join us for the next few moments as we unbox the power and the potential of your relationships, your leadership, and your life.
All right, welcome back, everyone, one and all, wherever in the world you may be. I'm R.P. Soriano, and with me once again is Dr. Robert Davis. We
Hey.
are we are continuing our conversation about our leadership experience our throughout our summer holiday, which wasn't technically a holiday, but it was during we're just reflecting back on how we've grown as leaders over the summer. In part one, we talked about leadership, leading ourselves. And in part two, we talked about leadership in our families. And today we are going to dive into leadership in the community. We want to remind everyone to please like, share, and subscribe the broadcast. Be sure to visit our website, www.unboxedtolead.com. You can learn more about our products and services. You can also access the broadcast there on our blog posts and all the other content that we have available. So, Dr. Davis, let's dive right in. We're talking about leadership in the community. And I think one of the things let me just say this as an introduction. One of the things that we don't talk about on Unboxed to Lead is the fact that you and I established a nonprofit several years back called SWG Unboxed. And one of the things that we do with SWG Unboxed is we are a social justice community organization that focuses on public health and policing within the city of Denver. And we have been doing, and you have been doing, especially, and our team there have been doing a lot of great work around this issue and around leadership in the community. So I want to shine the spotlight on you and have you take us through what has been happening with your leadership within the community. And if you could also plug in just a little bit why it is important for leaders to be active in their community should the opportunity present itself.
Yeah, first and foremost, there would be no Unboxed to Lead if it wasn't for SWG Unboxed and the work that we're doing with the Denver Task Force to reimagine policing and public safety, because it was there that we began to have that interaction with leaders that helped us to understand that leaders needed additional support, community, and enrichment, especially those leaders who are providing the essential services to our communities. And so we've had a lot that's been going on. We had our municipal election. The former mayor was Mayor Michael Hancock. He was elected to 3 terms. Here in Denver, you can only serve 3 4-year terms. So he was term limited. And then we had an election, and the new mayor is Mayor Michael Johnston. And why that is important is because as you talk about transitioning from one administration to another, we have done so much work as a task force, as a nonprofit, with the current administration, especially through the Department of Safety, which houses the police, the sheriff's department, and the fire department. So we've done so much work with the current administration. And then, you now have a new administration, and it's kind of, no matter how much they say we're going to pick up where we left off, it just doesn't work that way. So you're starting from scratch. You're kind of picking up and reintroducing them to all that you've already done under the previous administration. We were able to have over 90 of the 112 recommendations implemented. We have developed additional recommendations around school safety, around something called the Office of Neighborhood Safety. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And so you
Makes
kind of
sense.
feel yourself kind of starting from scratch and kind of picking up from scratch. And so that has been a very unique experience. And I want to talk about what we do is we develop community centered and community led solutions for public safety and policing. And notice that we talk more about public safety. And I love that you use the term public health, because we talk more about public safety and public health than we talk about policing, because we genuinely believe that the responsibility of public safety does not lie in the hands of police, armed law enforcement, paramilitary officers. We believe that true public safety lies in the hands of community. And one of the things as a society that we've done is whenever there's a public safety issue, whether it is addiction, whether it is youth violence, juvenile delinquency, whatever that means, you know, whenever we have gang violence, whatever it is, the first thing we do is we go to law enforcement and we say, what are y'all going to do to solve this problem? When in actuality, it should be just the opposite. Law enforcement should be coming to community and saying, hey, listen, here is a problem. These are the calls that we're getting. What are the great thinkers from the community who have expertise in mental health, expertise in public health, expertise in education, expertise in youth direct services? Hey, what are y'all going to do to take this stuff off of our plate? What solutions do you have so that our young people are not running the streets? How can we bring jobs and other activities and opportunities? What can we do to bring economic growth and housing and stuff to deal with the homeless crisis? You know, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be a large community going to a small group and saying solve it. It should be the small group coming to the large community and saying solve it. And so that's what we've been attempting to do. That's what we've been working on. And this summer has really posed some, unique challenges as we did municipal election forums where we did, we don't call them debates, we call them conversations with the mayoral candidates. We had conversations with city council at large candidates, the city auditor, and others to talk about, how do you envision public safety looking in the city of Denver? And so we're continuing to work and to move forward. So that's been a little bit. I don't know if you have any questions, because I can just go. This as you can tell, I can just kind of go on with this. But it has refined and really helped to develop leadership. In that, one aspect of leadership is being able. We for some reason it's like we've been talking a lot about transition with our parents, transition with our children, within the family, now transition within the community leadership. One of the things that leaders have to do is to be nimble, flexible, and adaptable to change and transition. And this has been a little tight for me. We don't know who the sheriff is going to be, who the chief of police is going to be. The mayor appoints these individuals, who the director of safety is going to be. So, you're in that limbo stage, and it can be very anxiety provoking and producing. And so, trying to manage my own anxiety to be a calmer, less anxious leader who creates a positive environment wherever I am.
Mm.
This has really pushed me to my leadership, has really challenged my leadership and taken me through my steps.
Yeah, I mean, you said you could go on all day about this. I could sit here and listen to you all day about it because I love these kinds of conversations. It's such a dynamic and challenging situation, and it does require calm, thoughtful leadership. It does, like you said, require the understanding that there is always this transition that is happening. I like the way you posed this with respect to policing and community as a relationship. We talk about this a lot in Unboxed to Lead about relationships. It all boils down to understanding the expectation of the relationship and how the relationship can best work. The relationship with policing and community has not been effective the way that you initially said, the way it's always been structured. And that is, we go to the police and we say, fix this. We've got we've got a situation that involves wood to be sawed. We've got a situation that requires screws to be drilled in. We've got a situation that requires glue but the only thing the police are showing up with is the hammer.
Mm.
So, how do we get everyone who has those skill sets, like you said, and who has those materials involved in this problem? Because it's fine to bring the hammer, but if we don't have a situation yet where there's nails involved, then we're not, or that is just one component of the construction of the house. So what we need to do is, okay, when it's time to bring the hammer, then we use that appropriately when it's in. But the hammer's not going to work when you have people with mental illness. It's not going to work when you have young children who need to be they need something to be addressed, and you can't just say, well, I'm just going to come put handcuffs on a 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid and take them into and then incarcerate them.
Yeah,
So I think the relationship is very important here in that you instead of it being confrontational, we're saying we're anti-police. We don't want the police here. We don't want them involved. It's not that. It's that we have a relationship, and we need to make sure that that relationship is developed in a way to where it works. And the best way for it to work is to put the onus on the community, and for the community to embrace that and say, "Hey, we'll step up. We're ready to solve these problems. Let's just have the platforms." And that's one of the things that you do so beautifully is bringing these community groups together and bringing these leaders together to give them the forum to facilitate the conversation in a way that can actually be productive. These are all the incredible things that you do with the task force that I'm always so impressed with. But it's all about the relationship so that people don't have to feel that we're on the opposite side here and that we're anti anything. We're just
exactly.
we're not anti-police. We're just anti-inefficiency. We're anti doing things in a way that isn't helpful. So let's get to a way that is actually productive and helpful in the relationship.
And could you imagine? And think about this. I read a book called Minimalist, I believe was the name of the book, some years ago, and it really helped to refine my thinking about the importance of doing less. And what we've done is just the opposite with law enforcement. We've asked them to do more. So no one is anti neurosurgeons. But what people don't want is to go to a hospital and it's the neurosurgeon welcoming you. One neurosurgeon is welcoming you at the door. Another neurosurgeon is mopping the floor. You say, well, hold on a second. Another neurosurgeon is giving out medicine and doing rounds, cleaning bedpans and stuff. Wait, pump the brakes. I want my neurosurgeon to be hyper focused on one thing, and that is performing surgery on the brain. I don't want my neurosurgeon doing brain surgery, but also emptying
Doing a knee
bedpans and doing stuff.
replacement.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
a hip replacement kind of thing.
No
Yeah.
knee and hip replacements. I want them to be hyper focused. And so, and the other challenges that we have, let other folk, let nutritionists, let certified nurse assistants, let RNs, let nurse practitioners, let all the other staff members come together to do those things. Let the neurosurgeon focus exclusively on what he or she does. And as one of the things this has helped me in this process of trying to articulate this to people who view police as being essential for doing everything, especially in Black communities, because that's the way it's been ever since policing started during the time of slavery, in the early 1800s. So, if getting people to understand, no, the most effective method of policing is when police are hyper focused. And we've identified three things: when they're hyper focused on investigating crime, apprehending criminal suspects, those who are suspected of the crimes they've investigated, and intervening where possible. And the reason we say intervening where possible is because police are not clairvoyant. They can't be everywhere at all times. But when they get calls that a violent crime is in process, when they are, when they witness something and they can intervene, wonderful. But hyper focus them on this rather than asking law enforcement to solve our educational problems, solve our homeless problems, solve our mental health problems, marital problems, and the list goes on and on and on, where we have law enforcement everywhere. And then we get frustrated when things go wrong. What could go wrong when the neurosurgeon who should be operating on somebody's brain is fixing tires in the parking lot? What could possibly go wrong when we add that responsibility to them, and then add the responsibility of entertaining the children who are waiting for their parents to come out of surgery? What could possibly go wrong when we put all of these additional things on our neurosurgeons? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. So what again, as we're proposing is that we as a community identify the problems. Everybody knows the problems. It's easy to curse the darkness, but that we as a community, with all of these tremendous leaders and resources that we have, human resources that we have in our communities, that we sit down and to develop solutions. And right now, one of the things that we're working on is something called an Office of Neighborhood Safety. The name that we would call it here in Denver is called CAPS, which stands for Community Alternatives, Partnerships, and Solutions. Again, returning the responsibility to the community to solve its own problems. And that's leadership. Leadership says, what do I do well? What is my job? Rather than being all over the place in everybody's business. Nobody likes a helicopter leader. We talk about helicopter parents. Nobody likes a helicopter leader. Nobody likes a leader that's doing everything. People really, and organizations really grow when leaders are hyper focused. And so this has helped me as I'm telling law enforcement what they should be doing as it relates to hyper focus. It then jumps back to me and say, okay, well, Robert, are you being hyper focused? Are you all over the place? Are you doing too much but not getting anything done?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a structural issue here. And we see this in the way, I mean, I have a previous law enforcement background. So someone calls 911 because they're arguing with their spouse. And there's an argument. And 911 dispatches the police there. And as a police officer, you go out there and the only thing you're thinking about is, was there a crime committed? 'Cause I can't do anything about a husband and a wife just yelling at each other. There's no crime committed. What if they could even be dancing around it? There could be things that are going that one person thinks is criminal, but it's not. And so you're there and you're thinking, well, no crime was committed. What are you supposed to do? Someone calls and says that there's kids hanging out on the street, young kids hanging out on the street being loud. Well, where's the crime? Why are the police being dispatched to now handle those issues when there's actually no crime? So that those kinds of calls should be forwarded to the community solutions, the people with those solutions to be able to address that
And
until
guess
a
what?
crime is committed.
And guess what? And I know we're up against the clock again, but guess what? There was no crime being committed until the
The police,
25-year-old police officer shows up
yeah,
trying to tell a 50-year-old man that he needs to be quiet in his house because
right,
the neighbors are saying that you're too loud. And this
right,
25-year-old man who's the same age as my kid is now telling me with a gun strapped to his side, man, I'm already riled up at my wife for whatever happened there. Now you're showing up. Oh no, then it's going to escalate. There's going to be
exactly,
a problem.
exactly, exactly. I mean, and because, like I said, I've only got a hammer. So when I show up to every single call, I'm thinking about how am I going to use this hammer? And so sometimes that's where the escalation comes from. Look, I'm wasting my time here. This person is all upset and they're angry and they're irritating me as a police officer. I don't like the way they're talking. I don't like the fact that they're yelling at me, which they have every right to do. So what am I going to do? I'm going to escalate this to find a way where I can throw them in handcuffs, put them in the back of the cruiser or in the paddy wagon and take them down, and just be done with them. And then that has all kinds of ramifications thereafter. So I think this is very good stuff, man. I'm glad to
Let,
hear this. Go ahead.
let me do something, man, that's going to be difficult. We got just a few minutes left in this broadcast. We have also been focusing on some growth within our organization. Can you talk about that? Because I talked about the community stuff. So I'm going to throw it all in your lap. This is Leadership 101, putting everything on somebody else's shoulder while you sit back and and
And
and and,
tell
and
them they've got
criticize.
and tell them they've got 3 minutes to do it or 2 minutes to do it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for that. All of everything that we've learned and talked about today, easily thrown out of the window. So Unbox to Lead, we've done a lot of reorganizing around
Hmm.
how we serve leaders. One of the big things that we've done, one of the most impactful things that we've done is what our program is our BIPOC Leaders Peer Support Community. So it is a leaders peer support community for Black, Indigenous people of color to bring these leaders together and to help them, to give them the resources and to give them the opportunities to become more effective leaders. The idea is that we're giving them access to the type of leadership enrichment and to a lot of the leadership development mastermind groups, consulting, access to consulting, and these things that they historically have not had access to, whether it is because of just direct discrimination, but also the economic limitations as well that are a part of that. So that has been our flagship product. What we have now been able to do is to create this under or to kind of transition this into the umbrella of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so this becomes a way to help our BIPOC leaders manage the new realities that they have in being placed into leadership situations within their organization where they are the minority. And so we take a very thoughtful approach and focus in making sure that it's not just a program for BIPOC leaders, but it is a program that celebrates your diversity and how you, as a BIPOC leader, bring that into an area where you are the minority. How to be proud of that, but also how to navigate relationships with people that don't look like you or don't come from the same background as you, and how to understand how to position yourself to where you can get the most from what you bring to the table in that setting. The flip side of that is that we are offering this same type of program to non-BIPOC leaders. And so this is a way of helping them to understand that that diversity, equity, and inclusion has to go beyond just ticking boxes, policies, and procedures. All of those are great. They are needed. We welcome allies, leaders, non-BIPOC leaders who say we want to bring more diversity into our organization. But the critical piece to this is developing relationships. It isn't just about putting people in positions and saying, okay, we've got a Hispanic person here, we've got an Asian woman here, we've got people that are different from us. The real thing is how do you how do you create an environment where those people now that are working together develop the kind of relationship that allows for the thinking and the diversity to shine and to express itself so that
Yes.
people aren't just in the room per se. Okay, I'm the only brown person in the room, but my suggestions or my ideas are not welcomed because my colleagues are just not comfortable with me for some reason. They don't feel comfortable with me because I look different from them or I come from a different perspective than they do. So, how do we nurture the relationship so that everyone who is looking, on the other side of one another are not just saying, okay, we've got the diversity hire here,
Yeah.
but they're saying, hey man, I really want to welcome RP. I want to welcome Robert's perspective because now that can open us up to a market that we didn't even consider.
And
It
as
can
you
open.
say,
Go ahead.
as you say that, one of the things that that we're starting to see researchers now coming out that a lot of these organizations who and corporations who have done DEI are now having a lot of pushback because there's not been a cultural change. So
Right.
they've put people in places. I remember, during President Obama's administration, a lot of people were saying, "Why are African Americans still complaining? You have a black president now." And the reality of it is, yes, you have the top of the nation being led by a black man, but the culture of the nation is essentially the same because
Right.
we've not developed those relationships, because we didn't approach it from a relationship perspective. We approached it from a positional perspective. So
Right.
it's not about just, it is about positions, but it's beyond positions to how do we make those positions and how do we center them within authentic relationships?
Yes, so that is our focus for our non-BIPOC leaders and leadership is that cultural change, that relationship development. This is where you squeeze the most out of diversity. I would liken it to, you have a sports team. I hate to use sports all the time, man, but that's one of the flaws of my genetic makeup here. But anytime you put a sports team together, sometimes you get people on the team that are talented in ways that you just don't understand. And so the duty of the coach is to start to design plays and to start to design things around how not only that player can fit within the system, but how you can get the most out of that player and how that player can get the most out of the relationship with their teammates. And then that's when you really have a dynamic experience where you actually produce championships.
That's right.
You see teams all the time where they just go out and buy good players, but
Yeah.
the ability to get them to work together and to understand how you get the best out of them, that's a whole different experience. That's why I think Phil Jackson, we think about the history of Phil Jackson's, Greg Popovich, some of these great coaches in the NBA, how they were able to manage the team and lead the team and get the most out of them. So we're working with our BIPOC leaders. We're working with our non-BIPOC leaders as well. We are also developing several new products. One of them is our boot camps.
Man,
So
I'm excited.
we will be releasing a series of wonderful boot camps, 1 day boot camp, 3 day boot camps that will all be virtual. That will for leaders on various leadership subjects to help uh, give you a taste of the full leadership community that we have built. So we have our flagship leaders peer support community. That is all the bells and whistles. It is a very dynamic, incredible service. But we also understand that some people want to kind of dip their toe in the water. They want to get a sense, how do we experience some of this?
Yeah,
Uh, how do we get a taste of this? Can we test drive it? Well, that's what the boot camps are for.
that's
The
right.
boot will help you get an experience and an understanding, a better understanding of what we do at Unbox to Lead.
And
So,
for those who are part of the community, it helps you to focus and to strengthen a specific aspects of your leadership. So it gives those who are not a part of the community a chance to dip their toes in. If you're already a part of the community, it's of course included in your membership, and now you get to really strengthen and work on one particular leadership muscle group.
yeah. So what we want to do is encourage everyone to visit our website, www.unboxedtolead.com. You can go to the website. You can see the different offerings and packages that we provide. You can also schedule a meeting directly to be able to discuss some of the details with Dr. Davis. We are one of the things that we're doing is we're establishing partnerships with foundations who are looking to improve their relationships with BIPOC community and nonprofit organizations. They are providing scholarships for our programs, and we are nurturing those relationships and building those relationships. So we're looking to partner with you if you are a foundation in the Denver area or throughout the U.S. And you want to provide scholarships for BIPOC community leaders, for the program. So we're looking for partners. We're welcoming partners. We have different creative ways to be able to structure the packages and the offerings that we provide. We're very flexible on a lot of this, and we are committed to trying to get the right type of leadership enrichment and development to the people who need them. And we're excited to work with any partners who want to help build leadership in their communities or within their organization, or wherever that may be.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Boy, you did a great job. I need to hire you to be to lead our marketing team, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. That must be the reason why I don't see paychecks.
That's the number one reason why, man. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Well, I think this has been a very great discussion, and I feel very good about what we've talked about in these episodes, and I hope everyone else has been enriched in some way. So, any closing you want to say?
No, I think you said it all, Raphael. Great job. Again, visit unboxedtolead.com. Unboxedtolead.com.
All right. So we'd like to thank everyone for your time today, for joining us on the broadcast. Our broadcast is produced by Bobby Davis Jr., our marketing by John Sedano, and our production by Damon Mace. We'd like to encourage everyone to please, once again, visit our website, www.unboxedtolead, and we look forward to seeing you at the next broadcast of Unboxed. Be well.
UnBoxed provides a full-service leaders peer support community that helps high-level leaders become more authentic leaders who build healthy workplace cultures and reach their personal life goals. To learn more and discover how we can take your leadership and your life to the next level, please visit our website at unboxedtolead.com. That's unboxed, 2, lead.com. Again, that's unboxed, 2, to lead.